Hey everyone, it's Dave. Happy Friday. We made it through to the weekend. Welcome back for another video. Today I just want to give you the latest updates on Rocket Lab. I've been doing a few deep dives and other things lately, but I do just want to kind of round up the news items we've had for the last week or so, as there has been several things of interest. Before we dive into that though, I hope you'll consider subscribing by the end of the video. Sorry to always nag about this, but you'd be surprised the difference it makes in the numbers when you mention it versus when you don't. So with that out of the way, let's dive into this week's Rocket Lab news. First up, just a quick look at the stock. Obviously not a great week for Rocket Lab, starting up around 4.97, around that $5 mark, dropping down all the way to around 4.7 at the lows before bouncing back a little bit today, at least to the 4.8 range. So nice to see that bounce back. Obviously not a great week. You know, I'm okay with it. If it drops any lower, I may look at adding more shares myself personally. Let me know how you guys are dealing with this drop and what you guys are doing. I can also tell you that my fiance did buy back in, so we'll see if she was right or if there is lower for the stock to go. She did obviously do pretty well for herself, selling around the... When did you sell, Alina? What did you...
5.8. 32 return. 32.
Selling at the $5.8 range. Comparing that to the NASDAQ, which was actually up for the week, just goes to show, you know, it was a bit of an underperformance, despite there not really being a ton of bad news for the company itself, maybe just a cyclical thing or, you know, with that industry in particular. Anyway, we did have some news around the next launch, so it was scheduled for January 18th, but unfortunately that has now been pushed back. So we're now looking at no earlier than January 27th for the launch of the 4-of-a-kind mission for Spire Global and North Star. A little bit disappointing to see this delay, but honestly, like, I'm not getting too worked up about it. They did give some details saying that this was to allow for time for final pre-launch checkouts and account for an incoming weather system. Personally, I do think the weather system is more of the issue, as you would think they would already have accounted for pre-launch checkouts during their initial scheduling. Yeah, as I was saying, we do have a busy schedule for this year, 22 launches, and a lot of people are already starting to get worried, saying maybe, you know, this will slip and we're not going to be able to hit this. And you know, I think it's even 23 now, technically. You know, these launches move around all the time. Weather happens, and it does look like there was some pretty bad weather out there. So, unfortunate to get the delay. Yes, we are not on pace for these 5 launches in Q1 currently, but hopefully they can make up for that. We are supposed to see 3 reusable ones. We'll wait and see on this, but honestly, like, I'm not getting too worked up about it yet. These things just change constantly, and maybe if they need to, they could squeak a few in Q3 where they do have a pretty lighter schedule. Interesting stuff for this new launch, though, in terms of, you know, changes versus the normal Neutron. The extra skirt here for protecting the engines around the base, as well as the silver heat protection called TPS for the reusable version of Electron. So nice to get that cool picture of the extra skirt, something I hadn't really seen focused on much previously. Some details here. This one was actually shared in the Discord by Count, I believe. So Count, thank you for sharing this interesting chart, talking about the SDA contracts and who has secured what for this current tranche. I think I'm going to make a full video doing a deep dive on this whole SDA proliferated war fighter space architecture program, and, you know, the future tranches and phases and all this stuff and what it could mean. But interesting things here is, you know, first of all, I just love seeing Rocket Lab's name alongside these big boys in the industry for satellite manufacturing and these primes. You know, we're looking at Lockheed, Northrop, L3 Harris, and then we've got Rocket Lab here too. I mean, Sierra Space as well is a big company with a bigger market cap than Rocket Lab. So just kind of nice to see them taking their place among what I would consider to be like a new group of peers going forward, hopefully. And they are, you know, if you do the math on some of these satellites, it's interesting to see how different companies are getting paid differently for them. So right away, it's pretty easy to see Rocket Lab, Sierra Space, both making 18 satellites. Sierra Space getting a lot more money for those satellites, $740 million versus $515 million. Not too sure why that ended up being, whether Rocket Lab just bid lower than Sierra Space did and they both kind of got their bid, or there are other factors at play. On the other hand, though, if you do the math, Rocket Lab per satellite on these 18 satellites does do better than some of these larger contracts. So that may have to do with things of economies of scale and all the rest. But even seeing that they're getting paid less than Sierra, still remain very happy with this contract, and I think they can capture a good margin on it. So, we'll be watching this going forward. It's definitely a massive program, $10 billion across 438 satellites, and there's so many different tranches they're planning for this program going forward and various upgrades that I really do want to deep dive into it on a later video. We also do have KeyBank Capital Markets initiating coverage of Rocket Lab, so new company here covering them. They are initiating with an overweight rating and an $8 price target, which reflects about a 50% upside around the current price, a little bit less than 50% if you look at the stock right now, but a very good return on a one-year basis. The price target reflects an 8x price to sales ratio on their blended 2024-2025 estimates, with the historical range being around 15 to 20x, so that's much lower, showing pretty big growth. They do continue on, though. They see upside well in excess of the price target if the company can execute on its mid to long-term initiatives. So they do see room to go well beyond that $8 range. They did include their estimate of revenues for 2024, financial year 2024, of around $412 million. I checked my own estimates. My own chart was a spreadsheet was a little bit more conservative. I had just a hair under 400 million, but it's nice to see, I was in the same range, and they're even more bullish than I am. So as I've said previously, I do want to err on the downside and be presently surprised, if anything, and looks like we're on track to do that, at least going by the new analyst here. And then, of course, we all kind of knew this was coming, but they did announce the date of their fourth quarter earnings call, and it is going to be on Tuesday, February 27th, 2024, after the markets close. This is definitely something I will follow closely, and maybe we'll even do a live stream if the timing works out. That'll remain to be seen, but still over a month away. So yeah, we do have a bit of a wait before we get those earnings numbers. I always do like the Q4 results because then we kind of get the full year wrapped up, and hopefully we get some more information on what they're thinking about in 2024. In terms of upcoming conferences, sorry, I just made a little bit of a Dune joke here. If you're familiar with Dune, Adam Spice presenting at 4 upcoming conferences. The spice must flow. So this Barclays Launchpad Conference, Investing in Space, has actually already happened. It looks like it was on January 17th. I wasn't yet able to find any footage of the event, see what Adam was talking about and the questions he was fielding. Hopefully we do get access to that at a later point. Often Rocket Lab does post the video or audio on their investor relations website, but haven't gotten anything yet. So keep an eye out on that. And if anyone did see it, be sure to let me know in the comments below if anything interesting was said. And just a quick article here on Yahoo. Not a ton of new information, but just kind of summing up what analysts think from Simply Wall Street. They are saying that they expect the company to post a final loss in 2025, so obviously a loss in 2024 as well, before finally turning a profit in 2026 of $43 million. Personally, I did have their profit in 2026 being higher than $43 million based on my own spreadsheets and estimates, but it is in the same ballpark as well. So we are, getting closer and closer to profitability which I think will be a very exciting time for the company. That's it for today. I just wanted to have a short video after that marathon discussion I did have with Ozon the other day. If you did watch that full thing, kudos to you, because I know it was an hour and a half long. I did have a very interesting discussion with him. But today I just wanted to round up the latest news items we have. Unfortunate about that launch delay, but you know, as anyone who's watched the industry for a while will know, these delays due to weather are not uncommon. So I hope you do have a great weekend. I'll see you in the next video. If you did find this helpful, please do consider hitting that subscribe button, and the like button will also help out as well. Thank you so much. Bye for now.